welcome to the Opinionated Geek podcast. I am your host, Jonathan Hanna. Uh, so if you're watching this, you can tell that I've done something a little bit different. I've shaved my beard. So, yeah, there's that. It's been a busy week. Basically, I've been doing inventory, so therefore I'm away from everything. Hopefully, though, this coming paycheck will be nice, because we'll get into why real soon here. So let's go kind of like over the stuff that I want to talk about. Where is this? Okay, so as far as a cold turkey, uh I know I mentioned about this and I actually bought the full version. I can't remember if I told you that or not last podcast, but I have yet to use it because I am frightened of it. Mainly because it the heck is that? Actually, let's no, I don't know if that'll do that. I'm on my VPN, so I'm not sure if this is going to affect it or not. So far, there is some frames dropped. I forgot to get rid of my VPN, and I figured if I disconnect it, we're probably going to have some stream issues. So it is going to be what it's going to be, and hopefully it all works out. And if it doesn't, oh well. But yeah, so I bought cold turkey, and I've been a little bit afraid to use it, even though I shouldn't be afraid to use it. I should be using it as a tool to help me out. But basically, if you recall, last week I mentioned that cold turkey is a way to close everything off to make sure you stay focused on what you want to do. And, like, for example, if I want to write, basically, the only like application, for example, that I want to open up is Scrivener, and maybe some other stuff that might I might find useful. Like I can make it so I can only open up Reddit.com. You know the writer Reddit. I forget how Reddit does their URLs, but anyway, I can make it so only I can go to that website, for example. Or if I want to do research for the book, and I allow Wikipedia, for example. So there's stuff like that, and the issue, the only reason I'm having hesitant to actually try it is just for the sheer fact that as soon as I put the schedule on and that schedule starts, I can't go back. So therefore, I can't turn it off until that's over. Now, in theory, that's not a big deal, unless you accidentally put it for like a week. And then you're in trouble because then you're locked out of everything for an entire week. Now you got to go through some rigmarole, but you can unlock it, but you got to mess with a lot of stuff. Got to turn off the internet and mess with your calendar and all that stuff. So that can be kind of a pain, but I'm still hesitant on using it because of, yeah, the internet is a drug, plain and simple. And being distracted is what the internet is good at. But yeah, we haven't used it yet, but I'm going to try hopefully this week, maybe give it a shot. I'm going to be at a hotel again for like 4 days, for work. But we'll give it a shot. Oh, and in case you're wondering, my friend, while I was at the hotel and I was down where he lived, he actually gave me a little gift. It is doesn't show up very well, but it is a red breast, 12 years Irish whiskey. So this is my first Irish whiskey I've ever had. Uh, it's pretty good. It's a little on the sweet side. Uh, smooth though, so it works. Uh, and so yeah, we're gonna switch over to some kind of news. So mainly because I start with a lot of D&D stuff about gaming and stuff. Due to I won't be gaming with my gaming group all month because of this job situation. But the people at Stranger Things and I guess Wizards of the Coast got together and did a Stranger Things Dungeons and Dragons starter set. And I am very excited about it, mainly because you get the Demogorgon miniatures. Now, they had a what was it, the loot crate? They had a like a DX version or something like that, where you got like a pretty big, almost like pretty big statue slash miniature uh, that you could use. And I kind of wish I had that, but I don't do subscription stuff like that. Uh, but this is a way to get a little, actually a little miniature, actually like normal size miniature. And yeah, so it's on Amazon. It's already a bestseller, and it's pre-ordered. I actually pre-ordered it as well. So once that gets shipped, it actually I think comes out May 1st, and my birthday is May 2nd, so that'll be my birthday present. All right, on to the next thing, which I'm going to probably do after I'm done with this podcast. But Retrofighters. Retrofighters is a company that started, I guess, via a Kickstarter. Ugh, people. And what they do is make retro controllers for retro consoles. And they I don't know when they really started. I'm not sure if they started with the Nintendo 64 controller or that's the one that like really made them big or popular. That's the one when I noticed them is when they came out with a Nintendo 64 controller. I didn't get the original Nintendo 64 controller when they first did it. I didn't even get the second iteration. I mean, I have the second iteration, but I didn't get it like during a Kickstarter. Currently, right now, they actually have a Dreamcast Kickstarter going on, and I put in for that right now, and it's like $65 with shipping and stuff. That one's a little on the pricey side. We're going to debate whether we back out of it later because right now I'm just like I'm not sure whether that's a good idea because I was able to get the Nintendo 64 controller no problem after Kickstarter, so we might just wait. Also, they did standard colors, so it's like a white and gray scheme, color scheme. So that's a little boring. I like my stuff to be a little bit more fun nowadays, especially when you have the option to, if you're going to do like a Kickstarter. Now, so yeah, so basically what I did was I've been getting into emulating and stuff a little bit more seriously. Before I just fiddled around with it and not really did anything with it. That's why I think it's funny that they crack down so much on the emulators and ROMs and stuff because your average person is going to most likely be like me in the past, where you download all these games and you might play a couple of them for a few minutes and then you just stop. But I'm trying to get a little bit more serious into it. So when I started playing some of the games, I'm like, the average controller, like the PS4 controller, will do the job. and it does it very well. But Nintendo has an issue where they can't quite get the buttons down correctly. They just constantly are changing the button layout. Now with the Switch, it looks like they're starting to be normal a little bit, and we'll see about whatever their next system is. The great part about it, the Switch, is technically they don't need to do anything else. The Switch is what it should be, and they should be making a Switch, 2, Switch 3, Switch 4, and just making it more powerful. They probably won't do that because Nintendo's just weird, and they just like to make things complicated. But the Switch, I think, is a perfect thing. Granted, it is underpowered. But anyway, I went ahead and ordered Retrofighters. If you see it on the screen, the Brawler 64 gamepad. And I got the colored version. Their original one is the same color of the original Nintendo 64 controller, which was kind of weird if you think about it. The console itself was black, and then you had these gray controllers. You'd think they would actually do black controllers, but they didn't. But Retrofighters came out with these, and they are the colored version, and they basically have 5 colors. They got the blue, which I got. They got orange, red, green, and purple. Now, these match up, kinda, not 100%, but they kind of match up with the Funtastic Nintendo 64 consoles. So if you have a Funtastic console, these should match up pretty well. Or the Jungle Green Donkey Kong edition of Nintendo 64. Now, I had a Nintendo 64 when they first came out, and then I bought a Nintendo 64 at a consignment shop type thing, and I figured it was a Nintendo console, so it's going to be built like a tank and it'll work fine. It did not work fine. It was I bought a new AC adapter because it wouldn't power up. So then I bought an AC adapter, plugged it in, and then I went to put in a game and press power. Still nothing. So I accidentally bought a bad console, and due to the fact that it's a consignment shop, I couldn't return it. So that kind of sucked. But eventually I would like to get another actual physical console for the Nintendo 64. And since I got this controller, I would like to get it in the Funtastic color. Now, the issue with the Funtastic colors is, you might get lucky, but it looks like they're going to be running you $100, $150 for the Funtastic colors. But yeah, overall, very, very, very good controller. What's a nice touch is even the actual end of the plug that goes into the console. They even have it transparently colored. But the analog stick is quite nice. That always can always be an issue, but overall it feels really, really good. Buttons are nice and snappy. D-pad seems cool. It's also got turbo buttons on it, so you can press the turbo button and then whatever button you want to be on turbo. And then there's a clear button, and then you can press the clear button and whatever button you want cleared. The Z button it's got 2 shoulder Z buttons, so it depends on how you want to play, which one you want to use. They did have an issue with the original one, and they did fix it even on the original one, but basically if you press the L button and you move the analog stick, it would interfere with itself. So they had fixed that one, and it's definitely fixed on these color versions. As far as the memory pack slot, or the expansion slot, or whatever you want to call it, Memory cards work, and a Rumble Pack works for the console. Obviously, when it comes to PC, the as far as I know, I don't know if there is, because basically what I needed to do after I bought this was I needed to get one of these. It is a Mayflash Nintendo 64 to USB adapter, and it's got around a 3-foot cord, so that's not very long. But the Brawler 64 has a 10-foot cord, so you don't have to ever worry about, the cord being long enough. But yeah, overall feels good. I only had one issue with it, but I'm not sure if that's the controller or just, software and whatnot. But when I booted up Mario 64, I noticed when I was moving left on the analog stick, he wasn't running. He would only be walking. But yet everywhere up and down and right, he was running. So I thought maybe in RetroArch there's something I could fiddle around with in the controls to adjust the sensitivity or something. And in the end, what I did was I went into the controls on Windows and recalibrated it through the Windows wizard for calibrating controllers, and that fixed it. And basically, when I looked at the little I guess you want to call the what do you want to call it? Basically, it's the little options under controllers and printers and stuff where you can actually go in, check properties, and you can press all the buttons and see if they're all working properly. The analog stick, you could see on the left side, it wasn't going all the way to the edge of the screen that they had, while right, up, and down were. So once I did the wizard, it worked fine. But yeah, it worked perfectly. And to be honest with you, where's it at here? Now, this could be an issue with other stuff, but I hooked up my Mayflash GameCube adapter, because it works for Wii U or PC. This one, for whatever reason, and it could be due to the fact that I'm short on USB ports and I need to get more a powered USB hub. And my issue with powered USB hubs is, for whatever reason, their AC adapters always suck. They're always loose. I want something that snaps in when you put that AC adapter into the actual hub. It snaps in, and it just doesn't. It's not just loose and can fall out. And I have one that I just basically stopped using. I bought it at Best Buy. I need to find one that works really well, and so far I can. But the Wii U, or the GameCube controller adapter, this one requires 2 USB ports. And if I use this, for whatever reason, I couldn't figure out how to get it to work with RetroArch. And lo and behold, I could actually get it to work on I didn't check all the ports. I just figured we're going to try player 1 port. And what I found out is, I think it's port 3 worked as what the software recognized as player 1, or at least that's the only one that actually worked at the time. Now, I'm not sure if that's due to not having the proper USB ports or whatever, but yeah, I just basically couldn't figure out how to get it working. But at least I got it to work with the 3rd port, and we'll try it later once I actually get maybe some proper stuff. But the N64 controller adapter, That actually worked perfectly. It sets up. I put it in the first port, and it recognizes it automatically. And even Windows says that there is another uh, controller for the second one. So that's awesome. So if I get two of these, technically, locally, we can play some four-player stuff. Uh, Obviously, I tried Mario 64. Works great. The controller works great. Uh, and then, of course, I tried Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey because that was one of our, as kids growing up, that was one of our favorite games. Now I need to look through some of the older stuff that I don't remember very well. Like I remember Body Harvest, and I'm curious about how that was. Uh, I thought the premise was kind of cool, but I can't remember if it was actually good or not. I remember Biofreaks. Uh, I think we just liked that because it was kind of weird and off the wall. I need to try Extreme G again, see if that's actually any good. Oh yeah, my only complaint with this controller, and just because I don't know how well it will be, but the actual wire going into the controller, the Nintendo 64, it has the ones like most controllers have back in the day. The actual, and I'm sure if you actually looked at inside those controllers, they're probably like tied uh, in a knot or something, and basically the cord went through the hole. But to me, that's still it's a solid thing, even with a custom fighting sticks. That's what you kind of do to make it so the stuff doesn't get ripped out, and it works. This though, it has a little flexy thing on the top, even though it's not really flexible, but it looks like an actual plug that you would put into a wall. And my issue is, it moves ever so slowly if you wiggle it backwards and forwards. So I don't know how well this is going to hold up. I'm hoping it completely holds up fine and it's not a big deal. But I would have liked it to be like the original Nintendo 64, where uh, all you could see was literally the cord coming out of the controller. But it is what it is, and so far I think most people like the controller, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. But yeah, as far as the like Rumble Pack and stuff, uh, the Rumble Pack doesn't at least work with this Mayflash Nintendo 64 controller adapter. I'm not sure if there is a Nintendo 64 controller adapter that allows Rumble, but as far as I know, there isn't one. And of course, you don't need, if you're playing emulators, you don't need a memory pack in the controller because it saves on your hard drive. And what's the only thing that this doesn't work with is the transfer pack for the Pokemon games. So, as far as I know, it works with all memory cards and any third-party Rumble packs too. But it definitely works with the official one. But yeah, very good, very cool. And right now they got a Dreamcast one up on their Kickstarter right now. I think I said that. And that's apparently going to work with everything as well, both the Rumble packs and the VMUs. I think somebody even asked on the Kickstarter whether it's going to be compatible with the microphone for Seaman, and I think they said it will be, or it should be anyway. So that is pretty cool. But again, yeah, the colors are a little bit on the boring side when it comes to the Dreamcast one. But those, I would say, it's a catch-22 type of thing. You can buy the Brawler 64 on Amazon, but you can. It depends on the colors. Uh, like the blue was there, and then it was gone. And then nothing was there, and then some came back. So my guess is if you want to purchase one, you go to Retrofighters. I think it's just retrofighters.com. And they're roughly the price of, I think, the original Nintendo 64 controller, if I remember correctly. I can't remember if they were like $40, but uh, these are only $30. Granted, if you buy through the Retrofighters site, you're going to be paying for shipping, so it's roughly around $40. Uh, with Amazon, though, I think you're going to be paying like at least $35 to $40, and depending on where you go, like eBay, even I even seen some foolish people charging $100 for them. Granted, all you got to do is go on Retrofighters site to purchase them. And the original one that they had is going to be in stock, I guess, in like April or March or April or something like that. Frankly, I just don't care. I like the colored version better anyway. Now, I did pick the blue one, but looking at all the videos that were out there, to be honest with you, the orange is the best color, if you ask me. And I don't even like orange. But the orange is definitely the best color if you're going to get the colors one. I just got blue because my favorite color is blue. But check out the orange. It's pretty in your face. But anyway, yeah, we will be probably streaming some Nintendo 64 games, probably Mario, just because it's what I do. It's what I know very well. And yeah, after this podcast. Alrighty, and before we get on to the next thing, this is the year that I get a Switch. I don't know how I'm going to get a Switch, and that's why I'm saying hopefully my next paycheck is really good, because I want to Switch, because this year is, I guess, like the year that the Switch really comes into its own. Now, you could say not really, because a lot of the stuff is still ports and stuff like that, but the stuff that they are bringing over makes me very happy. And of course, one of them was announced yesterday or the day before. They are making The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Besides A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening for the Game Boy is definitely one of my favorite Zelda games. I don't even know if a Zelda or a Game Boy game was this sprawling and this long of a playthrough of a game until Link's Awakening came out. You got a full-fledged game. It's not like a little mini game. I mean, this is a full game with hours and hours of entertainment on a portable system when it came out. And most of them, I don't think were like that. Not really. You could play a game over and over and over and type of thing, like Mario and whatnot, but I don't think anything like this was out there. And I don't think people took mobile games as serious as they did, or as they do now, back then. And Link's Awakening was one of those moments where it's like, wow, this is an actual real full-fledged Zelda game. And they're bringing it to Switch, and they're remaking it from the ground up to have the amazing graphics of nowadays. So it's coming out. I'm not sure when it's coming out, mainly because as of right now, I just don't feel like I know when I'm going to get a Switch. So I'm not too concerned about when it's going to come out. I'm just happy that it's coming out. But I also didn't watch a video. I'm assuming that there's a video out there, but I didn't watch any of it. I did see screenshots though. Uh, but yeah, I'm definitely getting a Switch now. And speaking of more Switch stuff, my favorite Final Fantasy is out now on the Switch. Final Fantasy 9. I think it's March 26th. Final Fantasy 7's coming out, and I think that's a lot of people's favorite Final Fantasy game. But I even have, or no, I don't even know if you can see it. It's whoop, whoop. It's kind of faded due to sun and stuff, but I do got a little Final Fantasy 9 VV tattoo on me. I need to get it actually redone. My cousin Eric Kibler uh, did it, and I think just due to the way I am, uh, I reject a lot of ink, and then with the sun and stuff, it's kind of a pretty faded tattoo. But I would like to get it redone eventually at some point in time. But he lives all the way up in PA, and I'm in North Carolina, so I don't get over there very much, or up there very much, and I don't get up there with money very much. But yeah. So Final Fantasy 9 out right now on Switch. Freaking awesome. And on to, I guess, kind of depressing news. Uh, Activision Blizzard had one of their best years. I think it was the best year in their company, but apparently, according to them, it still wasn't good enough. And even though the CEO got a $50 million bonus, or not 50 million, $15 million bonus, they still went ahead and fired 800 employees. Now, from what I gathered, I don't care too much because overall, I'm like, there's got to be a little bit better way of doing this. But essentially, what I understood is they basically fired a whole bunch of non-essential people. Uh, Not saying that that's not bad. It's still bad, but from what I understand, is it acted like when Activision and Blizzard kind of came together, uh, and merged, they kind of kept everybody. So you had all the marketing people, all the like background people, not really the developers. Uh, and they kept all those people, and you didn't really necessarily need to have those. And it's one of those things where when they're trying to like look and to cut stuff, when they're not happy with numbers, even though they did an awesome job, uh, they're going to look at the sections where they feel like they can cut. And I think that's mainly all they did. I don't think they necessarily fired any actual developers, but if they did, that does definitely suck. Uh, I'm not too worried about the whole Bungie thing. And some people are like, "Oh man, they caught a break." No, I don't know whose idea, uh, who controlled the Bungie situation, whether it was Bungie themselves. My guess is because they were able to break off from them. I feel like they did have full control of Destiny and Destiny 2 for the most part. And if they have that big of an issue with the game and they have the most control, because my guess is if Activision actually had a large control of how Destiny 2 was formed and how it turned out, then Bungie wouldn't have been able to break off as easy as they did. But yeah, that is definitely a thing. Dang it. Where the heck is that? Hmm. I thought I had something else, but maybe this is it. Uh, I, again, no matter what, it still sucks. And the, here's the big issue that I see with the way the world is right now. Activision and Blizzard does not deserve any of our money at this point anymore for this move. They could have done this slowly over time and kind of kept it low profile, and we as people probably wouldn't even have noticed. But because they had the best year, the CEO got $15 million bonus, and they still fired 800 people. To me, that's a little bit inexcusable. I don't care if it was the marketing people and a whole bunch of other like non super essential thing to make the games that they like. Blizzard doesn't have any games for this year, so right there, I'm like, what the heck's going on with this company right now? But they don't deserve any of our money. But the sad part is, as soon as Activision brings out like another Call of Duty or something stupid like that, guess who's going to buy it? Everybody that always buys Call of Duty. Why? Because we have no self control as a society anymore. It seems like, and instead of voting with our wallets, we want government to step in and take care of all that stuff. Yeah, we just want our cake and eat it too. Meanwhile, that would be destroying everything when it comes to free market and all that stuff. You shouldn't have government have to step in for something like this. You should just not buy their games. Have them actually just be disintegrated. They don't deserve anybody's money. But nobody wants to make a sacrifice. They're just like, I want my Call of Duty. And that's kind of where we're at as a society. I mean, heck, we continue to buy games and pre-order games that are just buggy and sometimes don't even work, and they have to give you a whole bunch of free games in order to satisfy you, and then even the actual game, once they do get it working, it barely works. But yeah, this is where we're at, and it's kind of ridiculous. But I don't see it changing because people don't want to give up anything. They just want to continue to be able to buy what they want to buy. And when it's not up to par to what they like, they want somebody else to do something about it instead of just not buying that game anymore from that company or whatever. At least that's my thoughts on it. Uh, to me right now, Ubisoft, surprisingly, I mean, you still got the stupid Uplay. I never had any problems with Uplay, just like I have never had any problems with EA Origins. But I don't play multiplayer a lot, so I don't know like connection issues and all that stuff. But with Uplay, I've never had an issue with it. I just feel like it's stupid if I buy a game on Steam and I launch it on Steam because I want, because that's where everybody's at, whether you're friends and all that stuff. You have to, Uplay's also got to be started up as well when you hit that launch button. So that's what I find annoying. But overall, I haven't had any issues with Uplay. And but as far as their games are, yes, a little repetitive. They all get the same, climb the tower type thing, but they still make somewhat decent games, and they're at least able to, you know, they actually try. And even when their games are abysmal at launch, they continue to support the game and make it work. Like, for example, Rainbow Six Siege. Horrible launch. but they still continue to support it, and it's gotten better and better and better over the years, and it's gained more and more following. So, yeah. And then, of course, you got CD Projekt Red, which so far they have not done wrong, in my eyes. So if they keep on doing what they're doing, and hopefully Cyberpunk 2077 will be, or whatever the heck it is, whatever year it is, hopefully that will be just as awesome as like the Witcher series. But anyway, that's all I got for today. Because I'm a little bit tired, but we're going to try to stream some N64 games. I'm also curious to see how it'll work with the streaming and the retro arc, and see if that works good or not, works well or not. Anyway, I also need to upload the last week's podcast tonight. Yeah. Anyway, see y'all later, and thanks for listening, watching. Anyway, bye.